Hello, 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 hello. Weird angle, isn't it? Oh, that's why. Although, yes, I am looking in the wrong direction. Cool. Welcome to day 54. And we are in numbers 1 and 2. And let's jump right into it because reasons. Let's share the screen. I wanted to show you guys a few things. Cool. So, we're jumping into the book of Numbers. It's going to be a quick one because the book of Numbers really is, the first one is just a census, first 2 chapters. But I mentioned that I wanted to show you guys some of the resources of Blue Letter Bible. And we have this incredible introductions to the various books. So this is a super useful resource. Again, all free, where you can donate. Please do donate. Not a sponsor. But yes, they've got these introductions to the Bible, and these give you like an overview, and their different forms. The two that I've been using are the ESV Bible introductions and the ESV Global Study Bible introductions. Quite useful. ESV Bible introductions is super concise. Just a quick, simple, high-level overview of the book, so you have an idea of what you're jumping into. And for Numbers, speaks to the fact that it's effectively 2 censuses, and life in the wilderness as they sort of get ready to go to the land of Canaan. Super useful to know this before you go in, and it's got this on every book. There are more in-depth ones. Global Study Bible is a bit more in-depth, and then you get a little bit more of information, and then you got like Schofield Reference Bible, which again, they all vary in the level of depth that they go to. John MacArthur should obviously be a lot more, but there's lots of information that's out there and available to you. And so, yeah, numbers 1 and 2. If we go to, okay, you don't have the thing. Cool. So numbers 1 and 2 effectively is just the introductions. So you not introductions, the registration. And they register the leaders, and then they start to number the people. Now they only number the fighting men of the various tribes. This does not include women or children. This includes men who are able-bodied, ready to go to war, of 20 years or older. It's worth remembering a couple of things, and I'm going to make this super short, hopefully my shortest video yet. On the one hand, I forgot the point I was going to make. Okay, on the one hand, you've got the fact that there were, I think, 70 people by the time Joseph had moved his entire family to Egypt. 70 people. Now, at the time of this census, when they're about to leave, when they are about to set off towards the promised land, and they've numbered just the fighting men, not the old men that can't fight, not the younger ones, kids, not the women, just the men. You have over 600,000 people from 70. Of course, it's over 400 years, but 430 years and change. But in total, 603, 550,000 fighting men. And the Levites were excluded. So we've got such growth. And I think it's interesting seeing how God did this from one, because all of these trace back to Isaac, not Ishmael. Ishmael's dudes are different, but Isaac. Through Abraham, the promise was made, the legitimate son, Isaac. Out of Isaac, Jacob. From Jacob, 12. Of the 12, 603, 550,000 people. Um, and when we go through and you see like these, you start to see the names and the records and all of this. I was thinking about this earlier, and I'm starting to see that a benefit, or not even a benefit, but a need for this is we are tracing people back to the beginning, according to the Bible and according to sort of the Jewish tradition, the beginning of time, right? From Adam. And so they have to have these records because they haven't got 23andMe, they haven't got, DNA tested. Where do you come from? 10% Ghana, 10% Gambia, whatever. So they've got these records meticulously kept that can trace a person back from the 603,000 all the way back to Adam, right? And this is obviously thousands of years before Christ, but eventually when Christ comes onto the scene, Luke and is it Luke, Matthew, Mark and Luke, I think all of them have genealogies, are able to trace Christ back all the way um, to David, and then through David to Judah, and then all the way to Adam. And we have all of these records to facilitate that. Because obviously, the Jewish people at the time were recording these things down for whatever reason, but God was obviously using that so that it can be so obvious when eventually Christ comes that he traces it back. And we have the record, they have the records to show in the time where they didn't have the technology, for like DNA tests and whatever. So I think that's really cool. Numbers 1, again, is just the registration of the families. And then numbers 2 begins with the organization of the camp and sort of arranging them around the tabernacle and giving them instructions as to how they are to march out when they do. And it's incredible to see the level of organization, again, for over 500,000 people is crazy. So those are numbers 1 and 2, and yeah, if you read the introduction. So if we go back to the introductions again, for numbers, I'll just go a nice short one. Actually, I might go with Schofield reference because I think it's quite nice. Now, numbers 1 through to numbers 10 is the order. And then we get, so part of the Hebrew name for this actually is sort of in the wilderness, which maybe is more descriptive of what it covers. But we have the order. We have them move from Mount Sinai to Kadesh Barnea. Israel's at Kadesh Barnea. Then they wander. When they get to there, they're unable to take the land, and so then they wander. And that's the wilderness wanderings, and that's a good 40-year delay, and then there's closing instructions. So we will see what it's like when that happens when we get there. Just coming back to the ESV Bible introductions. We will see God present himself again as one that cannot, as I said here, cannot ignore rebellion or unbelief, but also faithfully keeps his covenant. And we'll see that in his interaction with the people. So today's reading was numbers 1 and 2. Tomorrow's reading will be numbers 3 and 4, surprisingly. And God willing, I'll see you guys then. All right. Take care. Peace out.